Happy Sunday. It's Abafetu Shapuzet. This is your boy Kabavovo, aka Vavelishe. The picture Kupela. It is the Sunday morning, the 23rd of Jan 2022. We are back again in your space, like we said last week that we are indeed back. It is 2022. Izinto lazenzeka khona ziyenzeka. We promised you ukuthi sizobuya siyenze lento. Babiza bonke bazobona senzani. It's the time of the morning or of the week where sikunikeza khona your show Ivovo Talk. This time what I need you to do is the same thing that I asked you to do last week. Take out your phone and ubiza abangani bakho, call your friends, your uncle, your mom, your dad, whoever. Tell them to tune in to Kabavovo YouTube channel. Tell them to subscribe and tell them to come in. Because today, the show of today, in Amandla Qinile, it's informative. We've got a special guest in Amandla, izosinikeza into in Amandla is going to take us to another level. So, sisho njengayo umshimlisi udladla ehleza esho athi woza uzozwela because abantu bazokutshela manga bathi Ivovo lithe kanti angishongo kanjalo. Ivovo ke selingenile la on Kabavovo YouTube channel. Uyazi ukuthi Ivovo malifikile alihambi lodwa lihamba nani nento evutshelwe. This is Ivovo Talk. Ivutshelwe lento, the show where we talk about everything else and we leave nothing unattended. Hlala nathi wena ngizokushaya ngeverse. From there we're gonna go straight to our topic. It's Abafetu, welcome back. It's the time of the show. La ngishaya khona ngeverse. You know, nyakaza man, it's a Sunday, be happy, relax. We are still alive. God woke you up this morning, so you've got something to be grateful for. Even regardless of whatever that you're going through in your life, yes, they are going through a hard time, but be strong. If you're going through a hard time, just know that as Ivovo Talk, we are indeed backing you up, and we are here in your space to support you and motivate you and make sure that you become the best that you can be. If you've lost a loved one, condolences to you. We're saying to you, during this time, and may you go through this phase and with time, everything is possible. Healing, allow yourself to go through this phase and to cry and to heal and to mourn. It's part of the process, it's part of life. And if it's your birthday, Ndwana, happy birthday to you. Talking about birthday, last Friday, it was our PR manager, birthday, happy belated birthday, my brother from another mother. So guys, that is life. So if you are indeed going through a hard time, be strong. If you say manzini, be strong. If it's your birthday, enjoy your day, and may you be blessed in this day. If you are on your way to church, I hope Muroti will do the things, and make sure that and that's what church is all about, because we can do whatever that we can do, but our spiritual life is very important. That's why we've Ivovo Talk section verse. Now verse is found in the book of Galatians chapter 3 verse 15. It reads as follows: to give human example, brothers, even with a man made covenant, no one annuls it or adds to it once it has been ratified. It's a new way that I learned this week. During the show, because part of our show, of the topic of the show, is all about that weight. Galatians 3 verse 15, to give a human example, brothers, even with a man-made covenant, no one annuls it or adds to it once it has been ratified. Like I promised you last week, Bafetu, which will be having a guest. We are indeed having a guest. I'm going to introduce him in a short while, and he's going to take us through, and hopefully he's going to clarify certain things as a show level. So when it comes to Mulao, does this verse apply or not? Stay with us, we'll be right back.
This is Kabavovo YouTube channel, your home of the Son of Hope. You don't have to do this life alone, cause your boy Kabavovo, aka Ivovo, Elihle, the big G at Gubela, got your back on Ivovo Talk every Sunday morning on this channel, Kabavovo YouTube channel.
Welcome back. Happy Sunday to you. It is a Sunday morning, the 23rd of January 2022. I am indeed your boy Kabavovo, aka Vavelisha, the PG at Kupela. It's that time, like we said, of the morning we'll give you Ivovo Talk. Like I promised you this past Sunday, that this morning we'll be having a very informative topic as we are talking about legal contract this morning. And I am not flying alone this morning. I've got a special guest, my brother from another mother, Mr. Kuto Peace Masenya, that we've been Dallas Kutlanayo. But today we are here in your space to give you something good that hopefully that is going to help you. Because most of you, as we're starting the year, are gonna be, getting new jobs, getting married, and doing all sorts of things that include or involves the contract. And some of you, they get excited by the word or terrified by the word contract because they don't understand what it is. But today, don't stress, because we are here to clarify that and make sure, and hopefully by the end of the show, all your worries and your concerns when it comes to contract will be sorted out. Me out.
Sure.
A very good morning to you.
Thank you very much.
Eta.
Eta.
Thank you so much for waking up so early in the morning and honoring us with your time, and welcome to Ivovo Talk. We'll talk about everything else and we leave nothing unattended. As today we are talking about this very important topic, legal contract. But before we get into it, just greet our viewers and introduce yourself.
Hello, good morning to you all. My name is Kuto Peace Masenya. I'm an attorney, a legal practitioner admitted by the High Court of South Africa. I practice mostly in the High Court and the Supreme Court of Appeal. I do a lot of commercial and tax matters. I've been doing this for the past 20 years. That's it. Nothing more.
That's you?
Yeah.
Married? Any kids?
Besides the person you see here, I left home my main wife.
Your main wife?
Yeah, she's actually my wife and the chick on the side.
Love that.
I've got 3 kids, of course. Yeah, beautiful 2 daughters and a son. Yeah.
Nice one.
Yeah.
Let's get into this, Meauti. But before we get into it shortly, why law? Out of all things, why Mula? Why? I mean, like the Buka Tekana, the Act Tekana, and all those things. You could have done so many things, man. But why law?
But why not? What's wrong with law? Why must I do accounting? Why must I become a doctor when I can become a lawyer? I talk for a living, but of course we talk substance. We sell what we know. We sell our time, we sell our expertise. Someone needs to do it anyway. So fortunately or unfortunately, I'm the guy who carries a gown to court and argument. I'm the guy who advises on law. I'm a guy who sits and analyzes issues, transactions, tax issues. Somebody has to do it. But I love what I do. Yeah, I love what I do.
You love what you do?
Yeah. And of course, we paid for it.
and a lot of money, man.
No, we just paid for it. We paid for it.
Okay, let's get into this. Legal contract. What is a legal contract? Or maybe in answering or helping us with understanding that.
Yeah.
Contract and a legal contract, is that different or is one and the same thing?
Well, you've got 2 words there.
Okay.
The one is contract, the one is legal. Are you asking me if the 2 have the same meaning? No. Legal is large and is wide. Okay. A contract is an agreement, in simple terms, between 2 parties or more. Parties would mean human beings, including entities. Parties will exclude things like animals. Of course, you can't have a contract with your dog, because a dog can never be a party to an agreement. So essentially, when you start talking about an agreement, you're talking about interaction between 2 parties, being either 2 human beings or human beings with an organization or entities and so forth, in terms of which either has promised the other something and they both agreed that these promises are binding. I'm trying to cut it as simple
as possible. So in other words, there's nothing like a legal contract, because a contract is legal.
Well, in substance, an agreement can be made legal.
Or can be made legal.
If an agreement is legal, it means it's an agreement that complies with the terms and conditions that makes an agreement binding, right? If you have an agreement which is not legal, I'm not sure whether we'll be talking about an agreement. But if you agree and you show in good faith that you want to be bound by that which you agreed with, then we say you have concluded a contract. If you agree with someone and there are no consequences of your agreement, you can't be talking a contract, because all contracts have consequences. Yes. So whenever there are consequences for not doing what you said you will do to a person or to an organization, then you can be held accountable to that promise. That's when you talk about a legal contract.
Okay. Having said that, what I need to understand is what completes a contract.
Yeah. So I don't want to reduce it to an academic level of a definition of a contract. The viewers can always Google the definition of a contract. The viewers can always Google the consequences of a contract. But if you're looking at a contract and you want to know really what is a contract, the core principle behind the contract is simply this: A and B agree to do 1, 2, 3, 4. And if 1, 2, 3, 4 does not happen, either A or B will be held liable to either of those terms, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So in every contract, you would have a person who is liable to perform something.
Okay.
If that person fails, there are consequences.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe let me maybe put it this way as well. Let's say we decide to agree, come to a certain agreement between the two of you, between the two of us, and you get someone to draft the contract on your side, right? With all my details and everything.
Yeah.
Without my okay, that contract is fully drafted, but there's no signature of mine there. Should I be worried about that or not? Or should I only worry when there's a signature of mine there?
Well, I think the question must be defined. So let's unpack it. Let's say we've got A and B. You say A and B, number one, agree. Right? Once A and B have agreed, they specify the nature and extent of the agreement. They all agree that, okay, whatever we specified in this document is binding on us. Right? And they all said, no, it's fine. We're good. And they start acting in accordance with that contract. It's something else if they agreed, the contract was never signed, and they never acted in accordance with what is inside the contract.
No, I'm talking like in terms of the contract is drafted, but the contract is not signed.
Yeah, I'm trying to draw the distinction.
Okay.
Because there are different implications. Right? On the left-hand side, you've got a fully drawn contract, which is not signed. Right? On the right-hand side, you have the same contract, fully drawn, not signed. On the left hand, the parties act according to the terms and conditions of that contract, even if it's not signed. On the left hand side, the parties never do anything. Right? So there's two distinct scenarios. Your question is whether a contract which is not signed can be binding. The one where you have not acted in accordance with the terms and conditions thereof, you can have lawyers who will say no, but we agreed. but that lawyer will not succeed in enforcing that contract. The one way is not signed and the parties acted in accordance with the terms and conditions of the contract. You can have a lawyer who says, even though the contract is not signed, you are bound by the terms of it because you acted in accordance with what it says. Now you see it. So it's not like you're going to walk around with an unsigned contract and have a one answer fits all to say it is binding or it is not binding.
So in short,
Yeah.
Don't get into a contract if you're not even willing to sign it, because either it's signed or not signed, it can make your life miserable, because they can look for attorneys that can be arguing the case that there was an agreement made even though you didn't sign it.
Well, let's put it in such a manner that a person listening can understand. If you go into a contractual relationship and make a promise to the other person and act according to that promise, then you have entered into a binding contract. Remember, a contract can be written, can be oral, can be implied, right? Can be tacit. In other words, it can be drawn from the facts. When you analyze the facts, you can assess the facts and say, no, but chief, there is a contract here. We understand you saying you didn't have a contract, but if you did 1, 2, 3, 4, if your conduct complies with 1, 2, 3, 4, no, but then you acted according in terms of the contract. What do I need your signature for? If you have endorsed
Terms and conditions
by your conduct. You mentioned, you quoted Galatians 3, right? It talks about ratification. That's an important word in contract law. It mentions annulment. That's cancellation. It's an important concept in a contractual relationship. But you're not going to have an academic answer and look for the signature and say, no, but the agreement is not signed. There's nothing they can do. No, but it doesn't work like that.
Yeah. You did tax law, né?
Of course.
In terms of tax law and this thing of contract, how does it, gel, dance together?
Let's qualify it. Doing tax law, I'll tell you what I did in tax law. I've got a high diploma, postgraduate diploma in tax. I presided over the tax board for 2 terms, about 10 years, right? Sitting there, listening to people arguing tax cases, making judgments. Right?
You were making
Yes, of course. Right. What is the relationship between tax and contract? Contracts have tax implications. Simple.
How?
Well, if you're involved in a commercial transaction with value or consideration, if you like, or price, if you like,
or profit.
No, you actually make profit.
Yeah.
The contract would naturally have a value of some sort. Whether that value translates into profit or not is something else.
Yes, sure.
The minute
it
translates into profit, then you know that profit is going to be taxed.
For sure.
So the relationship between contract and tax is simply that. If you want to go deep, you would know that it becomes literally a level that we can't discuss here at this stage.
You being an instructor and a seminar presenter at the law school, what were you doing then?
Well, I did what we call legal writing and drafting. The art and skill of drawing papers. Either you present them in court or you exchange with your colleagues and or you initiate proceedings. Simple things like writing a letter of demand. How to be on point with your letter. how to be on point with your court documents. We call them pleadings. And it's pretty much a position I've done for about 2 years, right? A few areas in South Africa, we traveled, got there, presented the seminars about how to draft legal documents, legal writing, and pretty much assisting newly admitted attorneys. And you would understand that legal drafting is very key. If you don't know how to put your ideas on paper, you'll argue them from your heart and you'd lose the case. Or you'll argue them from your mind and you'd lose the case. Many a times you'd have a decent case or good merits, good and strong possibilities of succeeding. But you make a poor draft of your case. That leads you exactly to a failure in litigating that case. So legal drafting is very key. Knowing the law is one part, but drafting relevant sections of the law to accommodate your case, or building legal substance in what your case is very critical. If you do not know how to do that, strong. They will take you to task on a simple line that you mentioned.
We're going to take a short break shortly, but before we go on the short break, Mbogela Pekaya, you're talking about this drafting of legal drafting and all those things, right? Of which I think it's also very important to help the viewers at home to understand this, because I think it works with the contract. Because I think okay, maybe let me put it this way.
Yeah.
For someone from the streets that never been active in anything, now I just finished school or whatever, I'm just getting out there to start doing things and entering into business and entering into contracts. What do I look for in the contract? If I'm going to go in a contract with somebody, what are the main few pointers that you can give us to actually look at and to discuss and to go for? Because that person can easily rob me and say this and this and this and this, because I need a contract again. So, but what are the key factors or key pointers that are important in terms of the contract?
I want you to rephrase that question because it's very loaded.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to, for example, a business partnership with somebody, right? And obviously we're gonna have to. I know contracts are diverse. There's different types of contracts.
Let's take it in segments. You and I go into a contract.
Yes.
Right. That's what you say. You actually don't go into a contract. You're going to meet. Your mind is going to meet the other person's mind.
Sure.
In terms of what you want the other person to do for you and what you want the other person to do for you. Right. So the first critical element is to know what you want in a contract. A contract is not something that is presented for you without you knowing what you're looking for in a contract. Otherwise, you're a dead case from the start. So if you go and meet Masenya, for instance, it's because you want something from me. And if I want to give you that thing, I'm gonna tell you, Chief, I'll give it to you, but this is what I want you to do for me. If you say yes, I agree, and I say, of course I agree, we have a contract. So perhaps the question is, if you're sitting with a drawn agreement, what are the pitfalls that you are likely to succumb to if you're not careful?
Yeah.
Right? So, first of all, if you stand to gain in the contract, you must make sure that the contract is binding. How many times do we go to court on a contract which is really not binding? Which you have already sold your soul to it, invested money, many a times borrowed funds, and yet some lawyer rocks up there and says, "No, my lord, this contract is not valid." And he argues the point and he succeeds. So the first critical element is this contract binding, and why? You're talking for yourself. If it's binding, what happens if this guy pulls out? Or vice versa. So what you're looking for, far before you start talking about drafting and this, you've got to know your interests are sorted, your interests are secured in this contract. If you come to my office with a contract and says I lost $1 million, for example, my first question is to say, I'm looking for only the part that deals with you in the contract. I don't care about the other guy. You're my client. You're my guy. You pay me. I want to know, okay, what's up with cover over? What did you have to do in terms of this contract? What did you have to receive in terms of this contract? What if this guy pulls out? What was the terms? What is it that you stand to benefit if you pulled out? I want that part first. And of course, I charge you for it. And I advise you properly that, look, this is where you stand in relation to the contract. By that time, it's too late. You don't look in retrospect in your contract. You don't go and conclude a contract and then go back and say, what is it that you're looking for in a contract? By that time, it's too late.
Yeah, sure.
It's too late.
Yeah, that is this topic is hot. But we're gonna break now. But so am I right if I say it's also advisable that, like you're saying, that the drafting is important, to say before we even go and meet, I draft my pointers and the things that I want to happen, so that when I come and sit and meet with you and discussing these things, I have them on paper to recall and stuff like that. Because I can just go in like this. Okay, there are people that are wise enough to recall all the things, but I can just go like this and forget certain things. And when I'm all on shapa on shaya and kawela, and I end up, agreeing. So it's most important to write it down in terms of drafting for myself, so that when I get to you, I recall in terms of, by the way, when I was at home, when I was thinking about this whole thing, this is what I was thinking about.
Look, my best advice to anybody concluding a contract, every contract would have one loophole or the other in front of any lawyer. Doesn't matter how tight you think it is. That's why we litigate all the time. Every contract would have a loophole in the eyes of another lawyer.
That's why you guys have a job.
Of course. But I think essentially on a simple low level but quite critical part is that if you're going to conclude a contract, number one, know what you want from that contract. Know what you want to give in that contract. Know what you don't want to give in that contract. Right? And apply the same elements vice versa. Sitting in this position. You don't really need to be a brainer or a scientist. Just know what you don't want, know what you want.
Simple as that.
And sit there and say, am I getting this? If they say no, then you know that's not your contract. Am I giving this? And you know you don't want to give it, then you know that's not your contract. Don't worry about the English and the grammar and the academics. Just know what you want and stick
to what you want.
Yes. When the contract is drawn, sometimes don't stress about reading. Just say, all right, I'm going to send you a confirmation of the contract. you said the contract gives me this. He says, yes, gives me this, and I don't get to give you this. Okay, it's fine. I understand and respect the contract, but I will send you an email confirming that from this contract I'll get 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you've covered the basic. When the lawyer comes and interprets that, even if that contract was somehow drawn to your disadvantage, you've got a backup plan. You have already presented a version of why you concluded that contract.
Sure, let's hold it right there, and then we're going to come back and cover the last point due to time.
Yeah.
And Bugele Lapekaya, you're still sitting with your boy, Kabavovo, aka Vovelisha, the Big Jet Kupela, rolling with my main man, Mr. Kuto Peace Masanya, and Ateni, taking us through the contract, or legal contract, if you'd like to say. But I hope you are learning something and we are adding value in your life. This is Eve of a Talk, and the show where we talk about everything else and we leave nothing unattended. We are tuned into Kabavovo YouTube channel. Stay with us. We're going to take a short break. So puza manzi. I hope now and apekazo shai coffee or amanza akube mnandi, and continue enjoying the show. We'll be right back.
Masinya Attorneys Incorporated, a boutique commercial and taxation law firm in Midrand, Johannesburg, South Africa. Strategic lawyers on point with more than 20 years of practice experience. We are professional, capable, and qualified.
Welcome back, Mbugela Africa. I hope you did enjoy the short break that we had. We are talking about contract with Mr. Kuto Peace Masenya and Ateni, guiding us through this morning in terms of all these legal things. Hey, Mulao is very, very deep. I promise you, Mbugeli, this is not the end of it. Next week, we should still be having this gentleman here. Hopefully, I'm gonna, have to kneel and ask him to be here again. Attorneys there, they don't come at low cost there. So, but hopefully he's gonna honor us again next week. Melt.
Sure.
Let's push this and wrap this thing, and say happy Sunday to our viewers. I understand you spent some time go Europe go those guys bajang disuti mole with the Law Society of Europe and stuff like that. What was happening there?
It's actually the Irish guys, not Italians.
All right.
Yeah. So the name of the firm I spent some time there is Maguire Desmond Solicitors. So it's a commercial / tax law firm.
How long were you there?
A couple of months. Yeah. Enjoyed the English weather there. Terrible. Yeah. Terrible. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but a valuable experience.
So the time when I went to Europe, when you were referencing to that time.
I'm not sure. I can't recall that, but I think it was you more telling me about what's happening there than what I've seen in Europe.
But anyway, it's fine. Let's leave that. So yeah, what were you doing then?
I was in a commercial and tax department of the law firm. I did a lot of tax transactions, a lot of commercial transactions, sounding lots of euros there. Yeah, so quite a valuable experience, which of course I shared with a lot of people. Just giving back. The program we run for the Law Society. Those seminars presenting opportunities. We just giving back. When I started there, I had just came back from that firm. Yeah, so I think it was only fair that whatever I've learned there for people that never had an opportunity to go there, just to share with them. Yeah.
Great stuff.
But you'll be surprised how much I've learned in terms of running a practice from that law firm. Their system, their accuracy, their attention to details. The approach is completely different from how we practice law.
Sure.
And I see it was about 2 or 3 of us, that went there, and I see the guys are doing quite well.
Yeah. So basically, there's a difference between, acquiring what you call a diploma or a qualification in law than actually running a law firm.
Yeah, remember, if there are a lot of people with law degrees, but if you give them a courtroom, they'll run away. Literally.
Cool. Yeah. Let's wrap this thing out due to time before Batuan Bulayamo
sure.
And the manager in Bulayamo. The consequences of a contract, the breach of contract. When you're talking about that, what shortly, briefly, what is that?
Yeah, when we started, I said let's cut it down to the chase, because when you talk about a breach, I must now unpack it in legal terms. But when you say to me, what happens if you don't act according to the contract, the terms and conditions of the contract, then I'm able to explain it in such a manner that a person can understand. Let's unpack it. So you've got a contract, right? Which says, don't drink water. And you go and drink water. Then you have breached the contract in your words. In other words, you have done something which is exactly
against
the opposite of what the contract says. But again, the other question is, can you breach the contract by not doing anything? I'm not sure if you've got an answer to that one. But I want to introduce two key concepts of contract. In contract, you can either say someone has breached a term or a condition of the contract. Or another concept, someone has acted in a manner that does not accord with the terms and conditions of the contract. Right? If you're talking about a conduct that shows that you don't want to be bound by the terms and conditions of that contract, you are not necessarily breaching a term of the contract, but your conduct just show that, look, this guy doesn't want to be bound by this contract. Or actor west and the contract is going east. And then on the other hand, you've got a guy who knows the terms of the contract, but he says no. Even if the contract says drink water, I will not drink water. So one guy is breaching, but one guy's conduct can be interpreted
as a breach,
as a conduct which is not in harmony with the contract. This part of the contract is called repudiation. Right. This part of the water is called a breach. So all of them carry the same consequences, except that, not even except. In all these instances, you are able to say, look, your conduct is not in harmony with what the contract says. I choose to cancel the contract. And in fact, I'm going to sue you for 1, 2, 3, 4, arising from your conduct, which simply says to me, you don't want to be bound by the contract. This guy who drinks water when the contract says don't, the other guy has a remedy. He says, oh, okay, you're doing this, you've breached. But all of them, you can't just go and say, no, this is it, you've breached, and that's it. No, you've got to give a proper notice to say, Emre, look some more. Why you drink water? Either we submit the alida or Kelsu.
Okay.
Or in fact, our boss, outside that the contract, you breach it. Same story, like
So other than someone suing someone, can someone be jailed due to breach of contract?
I'll probably rephrase that question. Right. The legal consequences of breaching a contract, do they include an imprisonment? No.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. I think you've answered the question.
Yes. So imprisonment in civil matters arises where you are in breach of a court order.
Oh, okay.
Right. Say for instance you've got a contract and there's an order arising from the contract. Or I mean a court order. In other words, you and Masinya have gone to court, you've appeared before the judge, you've argued a case, the judge has made a ruling, and you've got a court order. The court order says, drink water, and you don't drink water. I can go back to court and say, hey, that man, you said he must drink water, he's not drinking water in terms of your order. That man, I want to force him to drink water. Or at least that man must be held in contempt of the court order. So if you succeed on an argument that he must be held in contempt of the court order, then you have already started a process where it concludes with a possible imprisonment. If you breach a court order, you've committed an offense called a contempt of court. Right? A contempt of court is the same as a criminal offense, and it carries an imprisonment.
Due to time out,
Sure.
your last words quickly, 1 minute to our viewers with regard to what we're talking about. Just 1 minute, something.
As a matter of fact, whatever I said, I'll deny that I said it if you use it in court. It was not meant to be an advice. This was just a friendly conversation.
Sure.
What's the word you use? Uncensored? Uncut? Is it uncut? More like it's a raw conversation. Nothing that's going to be It's not a rehearsed conversation, but we shared what we understand as a contract from bits and pieces. And please, that was not an advice. If you want an advice, you've got a lawyer. Go for that lawyer that will advise you.
Mugel Lapakaya, that's where we come in and we wrap it up. Like you said, this was just a general conversation with regard to contract, of which and help you in terms of understanding what is it that you're getting yourself into, what is it exactly, what happens around there, so that because I know these things, getting such information can be a bit costly, but at least I hope we did help you a bit there. But like you said, that if you need a proper advice, that you can hold someone liable in court, do what you call get a lawyer. But however, if they want to make use of your services, how they get hold of you?
cntlaw.co.za. cntlaw.co.za.
And then you're gonna get all the information.
If you go there, you'll see a funny guy looking like me. You can find info@cntlaw.co.za. Drop a mail, we'll come back to you.
So if someone comes and say, I saw you from Evo Talk, can they get at least 1% discount? Well,
that's if we're gonna charge them.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't get 1% of zero. If we don't charge them, there's no percent discount.
For sure, you're gonna charge me out. It's a business.
Great. Great.
So okay, we'll make that 2%. Okay.
I must say that we are only found in the commercial and tech space, so you will not find us in areas such as road accident fund claims, hardcore criminal law, except tax matters, criminal tax matters. So if you come with a request to assist with RAF matters, we won't be able to assist you. Things like that. So at least Find us in our space. We are comfortable to help you with any commercial transaction matters, any tax matters. That's our space.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Clear. Bafethu, that's where we come in and we wrap up the show. But if there's any other, because we're gonna still have you next week, man, right?
We'll make a plan.
Okay. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. So Bafethu, if there's any other questions that you might have that maybe we can try and assist you, please drop a question down. If we do find time in the next week's show, we will maybe answer 1 or 2 questions there just to assist you, because all that we want to trying to do here is to add value in your life. As this is Eve of a Talk, we talk about everything else and we leave nothing unattended. This is where I come in and say happy Sunday and say your son all the time. And tomorrow it is the 24th of January. Payday to those on the 25th, it's close by. Bambelela, success. I know January was very long, but be strong, be good, go out there, understanding the contract, understanding legal, and understanding what you're doing. And we shall be back in your space next week, give you more of legal things, and so that you'll be, awakened in terms of understanding these things and do best and excel. All the time. Salute, cheers, we're out.